Greetings everyone, Dr. Satan here. Want to do kind of a part 2 to my tips and tricks solo bass video. Not so much of bass design, but on bass location, because that was one thing that I kind of didn't really mention, but to me, the best solo bass can be the bass that's out of sight, out of mind. And I want to kind of go over a few things on what I've learned in the past, and hopefully it'll help you guys out. So here we go. Now, whenever you first spawn in a server, say it's fresh white, you get up, look around, and you build a base, right? Wrong. I mean, you can, to each his own, everyone's got their own flavor, but personally, I found it's always better to run as far away from spawn as you can, because so many people, they'll just wake up and they'll hurry up and just try and scramble to get a base up, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're solo and you're trying to survive the first couple of days, or the entire wipe even, like, the method I've always used that seems to work pretty well is out of sight, out of mind. And we're going to go down south, and we're going to go up north around mid-map, and I'm going to show you a few examples of what I mean. So we'll see you there. Now here's the first example. The opening of a river where it's got the little overhang you can build inside of. If you're down in the desert, I mean, people will still raid this, they can still see it, but it is one example that can be somewhat out of sight, out of mind, you know. You get inside, you can fit a couple of chests and a furnace in here, maybe 2 furnaces. Nothing big, nothing fancy, but it just falls in the out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. So, you know, it helps for you to stay hidden and gives you some of the best raid protection you can get. Out of sight, out of mind. Alright, we'll move on to the next. Alright, so this next example is my personal favorite that I've had the most success with. And that is hiding right out in the open. My base is right here. You might be able to see a few things giving it away, but hide you a couple furnaces and some bushes. Now, this doesn't help, of course, if they run by and they hear it, but if there's a group of 8 dudes running through here, they're not going to see anything, and they're just going to keep running, unless of course they're farming. But, and then of course at night these may be visible as well. You just want to, you know, you want to use it with moderation. You want to definitely, you know, have some common sense with it on when to use your furnaces if you're doing something like this. And then of course, you know, you should have guessed by now, storage would be stashes. Put stashes all around, put them next to things where you're going to remember where they are. Like that little guy, I think, yep, another one right there. Like, I've heard so many people that they don't use stashes, but I've seen a lot of people still that do use stashes. It's kind of like a 50-50 mix. Stashes are your best friend. Now, you don't want to put them all in one area, because if they find one stash, of course, what they're going to do, they're going to start searching around the same rock you put them by, or the same tree, or, you know, whatever it is. Spread them out, different locations, you know, even if it's over, like, a 50-meter radius. If you can find certain little landmarks, you know, like this little double rock right here, where you can memorize where your stashes are, you know, go for it. Spread them out. Don't keep them too close. People usually don't spend a whole lot of time searching for stashes unless they are very, very motivated. So yeah, I'll show another example of this up north, because down south it works, but it's not as hidden because it's the desert. There's no bushes. Well, there's bushes, but you know, there's no tall grass. There's not a thick forest. All that good stuff. So yeah, I'll show another example of that up north, and then we'll get to the next. Alright, now this one I've seen a lot of people do. You build the old rated base, some walls going around it, like got a TC in here if someone can auth on if they're snooping around, right? Let me fly up in the air so you can get a better understanding of what I'm doing here. Got a few walls, some external tool cupboards, you know, just kind of build it up. Maybe put some large furnaces outside or something, make it look like a new base. But where your actual base will be in one of the tool cupboards. Put some chests, tool cupboards, sleeping bags. Sleeping bags also are very nice for making you completely quiet. I mean, if you go off a sleeping bag, of course. Or if you have holes like what I got right here, because I was just a sloppy asshat and just hurry up and threw them in there, you'll get little stuff here and there. But if you can place them 3 wide in nice straight lines, then sleeping bags make things nice and quiet if you're trying to make a hidden base. And now a server like this, there's teleport, so getting it out of here wouldn't be a problem at all. You could just set a home on this foundation. But if you were on a server where you couldn't do that, just stick your little box right through there. You can throw your goods in there, kill yourself, spawn in a bag, pull it out of the box. Now, that does kind of compromise the hidden base a little bit if someone were to notice this sticking through the wall. But if you can build it next to a bush, perhaps, to where that will be covered up by the bush, you'd be all good. But yeah, that's just another example of how you can stay out of sight, out of mind, and survive a wipe. We'll move on to the next example. And for our next example, if you've got a map that's generated some nice cliff faces with some overhangs, there's been a few times I've built inside of these, which is, you know, it's always worked out for me. Some of these actually seem to be some of the more successful ones as far as staying alive. Now, it's not exactly the most secure. You only got the one door and really not much room for a TC. You could probably put an external one maybe up on the hill or something if you want. But, you know, I probably could have put a TC right here and then put my chest in a different spot. That's kind of my poor design, and I did just kind of build this real quick as an example. You know, do your own designs. Don't try and build exactly how I do, because a lot of this has just been kind of a quick setup just to kind of show you the idea, so to say. Now, it looks over here. Oh yeah, I got that sealed up. Okay, yeah, because like if you got a group of guys up here even, and they're roaming around looking for a base, they're not even going to see you. Now, if they're on this other side, it's pretty hard to see. It's kind of in the shadow of that rock. I mean, you can still see it if someone's really looking, but if someone's just coming through, doing a quick glance, and then they leave, you know, you're fairly covered. Obviously, it's not going to help you if someone runs right by it, but the more out of sight, the more out of mind, and the more protected you can be. Because normally you're going to find that group of raiders that's roaming the map looking for the next raid. Sometimes you will find the guy that is searching around the edge of the map. He's running around the water's edge, around everything, looking for that lone survivor that's been stashing everything up his whole wipe without being raided, trying to get that good score with a cheap raid, you know. But yeah, we'll move on to the next. Alright, now for this next example, this is more handy on modded servers, I would say, where you can teleport. I'm sure there's a lot of creative people out there that could find an easy way to get into this on a vanilla server, especially getting in there with loot. But if you notice, there's a little foundation right here, and if you really look up, you'll see there's something built up into that tree. Now, I built it off center to show you what's going on here. You just place a square foundation as low as you can at the base of a tree, preferably at a flatter area so the foundation isn't as exposed as what I have right here. And then you just put pillars going all the way up. And once you get as high as you want, build walls going up, and then place a floor next to that wall. And then you come down and destroy the walls, and that floor will stay on the pillar itself. And then you can build some walls going around it. If you want to put a roof on there, you can do a roof. You can have you a sleeping bag in here. You know, there's not much room, but how many times have you ran around the map looking in trees for bases, you know? You can even put you a couple of furnaces in here. And the nice thing about something like this, looks like I probably could have done that better, but anyways, as an example, if you have a furnace running up there, people are going to hear this furnace, they're going to be looking around like, what in the hell is this damn thing? But even then, they're going to have to be fairly close to even hear it, being up that high. And plus, they're starting to add somewhat of a new audio mechanic. So if there's a fireplace or something inside of a building, it's not going to be as loud, like it'll be muffled as if it were inside of a building. So that's definitely going to help with something like this. Another thing you could probably do is twig at the side. I mean, it's going to be kind of expensive in vanilla to do it like this, but a couple of ladders. Right? If I can learn how to place ladders. Well, like that. And jump in. Only problem is now you got the twig you gotta get rid of. Can you? Yeah, you can place a triangle there. You have to figure out some way to shoot that twig down. Which, that just destroyed my stability. Well, it'd be a way, if there's no one around, you could get in, stash your stuff, jump out, destroy that, and then just spawn in a bag that you had up in there or something. But that's just another example. Now, here's another good example. A lot of people build in these rocks because they are a good shelter. And, you know, it's kind of nice to build around something different. If you can find an area that's not as populated, like right now we're around mid-map, which has usually got a decent amount of bases. Sometimes these rocks have nice little, like, halfway caves, I guess you can say. Or you can build yourself a nice little hidden base in there. I mean, it's not completely hidden. People are still going to be able to see it, but it's, you know, a lot less noticeable than that over there, which is going to attract more people than this is. You know, the point of all this is not so much to completely hide your base. I mean, if you can, without doing any exploits that would be unfair to other players, like inside of rocks or something like that. Like the earlier one that we mentioned where we did the stashes and the furnaces and the bushes and stuff like that. You know, go for it. Cool. Awesome. And if you want to do it that way, do it that way. You know, it's going to be your base, your home. Build it how you want it. These are just some examples of how you can stay out of sight, out of mind. And to me, that has been some of the best base defense in the past against players. You know, even especially on a modded server, if you have, you know, 4 layers of high external stone walls, it doesn't matter. They're gonna farm the C4, they're gonna get it, and they're gonna get through, and they're gonna completely foundation your base. But little stuff like this, yeah, it's easy to raid. Like this would be pretty much 1 C4 at the moment. But you've got a different kind of defense going for you. Not so much try and make them not want to raid it, but make it to where they don't see it to make them want to raid it. You know what I mean? We're going to move to one more example, and we're going to call it a wrap. Alright, now for the last example is one we did earlier, the base out in the open in more of a wooded area. Like, to me, this is the best place to do it because you've got so much more cover, less likely to be seen by people if you're out here, like, moving around, looking at spots, opening up stashes. You know, you can have your furnaces in here if you want to really risk it. You can maybe even have a small box. Personally, I always go for the stash. Here, I got one right here. I didn't place any other ones down just because I've already done this, but you know, gives you an example. You know, out of sight, out of mind. I know you're probably tired of me saying that, but I hope you learn from this video or just understand some examples and get the concept on what I'm trying to get to you. It's not always about how many layers of walls or honeycombing you have. You know, you can even do this if you're a clan and say you want to make a stash base. You know, stash all your good loot there. Do it like this. Hide it in like a stash in some random location on the map. I guarantee you it's probably going to be safe. I mean, there's always going to be, you know, that occasion where you're on a server and there's a hacker with ESP that's finding stashes, which sucks, but hopefully if you're playing on a server that's got admins on it, you'll be able to catch that. Yawn. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it was somewhat educational for you, I guess. If you have any other questions, put them in the comments down below. And if you have any suggestions for another tips and tricks series, or not series, but another tips and tricks episode, put it down in the comments as well. Let me know. And yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. Later.